I don't like that word hate, but this one thing I do hate: the gospel of your own truth.
Oh, dang. Oh, this is a truth bomb the world needs to hear, and there ain't nothing wrong with it. Right as of now, as of 30 minutes and 18 seconds in, David Glen Hatch did nothing wrong. Kwaku, what's the scowl, brother?
All I'm saying is I can see both sides here. I can see how people did not like it.
What both sides?
There is an absolute truth out there that we need to be seeking after, right? That is independent of our lived experience and that is independent of our filter. And that's what we need to be seeking after.
Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Strike Through Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinellis. I'm joined by Kwaku L. Barad Whitbeck, and back by popular demand, Luke Hansen, head of what was once the BYU Conservatives and is now the Cougar Chronicle. And you guys may have seen over the past couple of weeks, a certain devotional at BYU Hawaii has caused a big time stir. One, David Glen Hatch told people that they had infinite value as a child of God, that their first identity as a child of God was the most important identity. And then he proceeded to play Rachmaninoff, which the cry bullies have somehow managed to twist into something hateful and cruel. The cry bully's going to cry bully, the hater's going to hate. So we approach this program with the question, did David Glen Hatch do anything wrong? Who wants to go first?
David Glen Hatch should.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the context, I think we should play the clip.
Okay, let's see if David Glen Hatch did anything wrong.
My young brothers and sisters, we've just got to stop allowing other people to tell us whether we're good enough, attractive enough, rich enough, famous enough, desirable enough.
Sounds
Stop
good.
it. Just stop it. We should only care about what Heavenly Father says about us, that we are of immense worth. In so doing, however, we must be aware of the great destroyer who is working daily to destroy your self-concept. You know, the great destroyer is the great deceiver, the ultimate lying liar, who will stop at nothing to separate us from God.
Okay, so have we come across the controversial point here yet? Or is this another
this is
Elder Holland thing?
That's why I said 30 seconds forward.
Okay, so is this another thing where most people watch it, don't even know it was controversial? The controversial part's
you're
coming
gonna
up.
get to. No, you'll see it.
Okay,
You'll see
let's
it.
see.
It's right here.
Let's see.
I'm glad we're watching this for context, though, because now I can tell he's a little bit out of breath from just having finished his piano performance.
Well, and he did 4 of these.
Yeah.
This is his 4th piano.
It was like a
performance.
tour de force.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
His tactics really haven't evolved much since the garden, but he's certainly adept at staying ahead of the curve. The great deceiver's specialty is his keen interest in your feelings and opinions and personal preferences. He's quite progressive that way and wants to hear all about it.
Oh, he named him.
Okay.
Oh, it's not even there
His
yet.
concerns, and he knows exactly which rendition of Jesus is pertinent to your cause.
Oh, I'm loving this. Let's keep going.
Keep going. He's gonna say it.
Lately, it is likely to be a socially relevant, liberal Jesus who somehow cares more about your truth than the truth he came to personify, proclaim, and die for. The deceiver dishes out a new gospel. And I hate this, just so you know. I don't like that word hate, but this one thing I do hate: the gospel of your own truth. You ever heard?
Oh,
dang.
Oh, this is a truth bomb the world needs to hear, and there ain't nothing wrong with it. Right as of now, as of 30 minutes and 18 seconds in, David Glen Hatch did nothing wrong.
He's gonna get even a little more specific with this.
Oh, this is as
Slightly
good
more
as Ahmed
specific.
Corbett. I'm loving this.
Carden, he's
Heard it.
naming names.
What'd you say?
He's naming names, just
He's
like you
naming
always
names?
want.
Okay, he's naming names. All right, so here we go.
The gospel of your own truth. You ever heard it, brothers and sisters? Oh, my truth is. And then he whispers to all of us, that's much better. To be clear, he won't tell you to give up your faith in Jesus, but that obviously some of his outdated theology needs revamping because it no longer works today. A good chunk of it is offensive enough to be considered a hate crime.
Yeah.
Especially that bit about marriage and sexuality. I mean, Jesus told his followers to love one another, not judge one another.
He is batting 1,000. He is batting 1,000 right now.
But do you know what's happening?
What?
He's batting 1,000 like a theater kid.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of the problem people have with this is of his delivery, because they're not used to seeing something like this.
Well, and also, here's the deal. I got to tell you, anybody thus far who has any problem with a diminutive, generally skinny Broadway, presumably if we saw him play the piano like that in New York, we'd assume he was the gay head of the theater arts department at frickin' Juilliard or something. Had he been a progmo saying we need to ease up and have gay temple ceilings, and then went on to play Rachmaninoff as part of his, those people that have praised this for 30 years can't take what they've praised for 30 years and not listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Let's go.
Right? So who are you to judge how others love? That's just how stealthily and insidiously the father of lies leads members of this church astray.
Dude.
He distorts God's word and presents new, different gospel to each generation. And he knows how to place deceit in our hearts. He's well acquainted with our carnal desire to rule and worship ourselves. And he's happy to show us how.
Kwaku, what's the scowl, brother? This guy is 120. If our leaders had the stones to say this in 1998, in 2012, in 2007, think how many families would still be intact right now. This is the exact opposite of home wrecking for profit, baby. This is pure truth, dew from heaven, manna from on high, thunder bombs, baby, truth bombs. What? 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 What?
He cares a lot about your truth and your feelings.
Wait.
Don't make him sound like the Joker.
I actually kind of forgot. We should go back to the beginning and see if he sounds like this. Or
Yeah,
if he just
'cause-
puts on creepy voice when he's talking about Satan, or if he's out of breath, or...
I feel
I think
like
he's
it's
kinda
part
out
of
of
the
breath from playing.
performance thing.
I don't know. All I know is my first reaction when I saw this going was, what bizarre 1970s talk did somebody just dig up? Because his suit is kind of old school.
And he's got the thin tie.
And
yeah.
even
And his hairstyle doesn't look like right now.
and the camera. It's like they have not updated their camera system in 15 years.
BYU Hawaii.
BYU.
So I was like, okay,
Well,
what
it is the
1970s
Mormon church. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the tabernacle, which is on like 22nd century technology, everything else for the plebeians, the boomers just, you know,
Wait,
if
are
it's
you
not boomer
saying-
technology, they don't have it.
Are you saying you like the new TEDx BYU devotional stage?
I have not seen, I don't know
They
what
got
you're
like a whole
referring
TED
to.
Talk thing stage going on.
Is
now
that what
for
like
BYU
Stephen,
devotionals?
is that what like Stephen Jones did his from? Because they've had some very,
No, you're
No, it's
thinking
like
of
all
that,
the
that was Hope
BYU,
Works
like-
you're thinking of.
oh, okay.
Yeah, like
short-lived.
Dallin H. Oaks did it from like the clear podium, and it has the big BYU symbol and a circle on the ground with big
Oh.
screens around it.
Maybe I
Have
did
you guys not
know.
seen
No,
this?
it's cool. It's cool.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't
Okay.
really know.
I like the modern stuff.
I mean, this camera could use an upgrade, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
it's like you
just
gotta
the
Okay,
more-
is there
camera's so
more?
old.
Do we have to keep playing it, or is
No,
this the
that's-
controversial
all
part?
I'm saying is
Yeah,
I
you-
can see both sides here. I can see how people did not like it.
What both sides? They have been Trojan horsing every bad idea, sin, hate, cruelty into the Mormon church under this idea.
You're not going to change my mind.
Postmodern nonsense of
So, Cardin,
well, it's my truth.
Cardin, that is actually, I think, part of the issue here. Because you're able to hear this and hear the truth that he's saying.
Because I live in the wasteland that is Los Angeles 40 years after liberalism took over and got everything it wanted. Yeah. And I see exactly where the bottom of the slippery slope leads.
Yes, but what has happened here is he is using some terms that have been weaponized so far that when people hear those words, they get offended and can't hear the rest of what he's saying. They get stuck on things that he has said.
Jesus Christ offended people with the Sermon on the Mount too. This is the closest to Jesus Christ we've had in freaking 20 years.
I'm not trying to say that he's wrong for this. I'm trying to say I think that's part of where this controversy is coming from.
Okay.
Is because
yes. Okay. I'm not trying to pick on this guy. I'm not trying to pick on him. I don't know him. He's probably a really good guy in real life. I'm just saying my initial reaction was first the moving around a lot, the gospel of your own truth and your own choosing.
Well,
I was like, what is going on?
He is very expressionate.
Yes.
Okay. But he also just got done playing straight up like 3 Magnus Opus, which I believe is the plural of opus.
I'm not denying any of that happened. I'm just saying, if you're going to go in reference, if you're going to go to bat with the LGBT community on stage, you got to get your mannerisms down beforehand so everybody doesn't immediately write you off as creepy.
What?
I thought he was kind of Grinchy, like Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
No, he totally comes across as the show tunes guy who, after he had a good 10-year stint on Broadway, retired into academia.
I definitely
Look at him.
I got some kind of theater vibes for me.
Yeah, I got theater. Maybe because we've done theater and like I even got theater performance vibe, but I'm sorry. I feel like
you know who behaves exactly like him? The male instructors in the ballet world that have been teaching ballet for 30 years.
I don't know what your point is. Is your point he's got
You've
great
had
truth,
a male ballet instructor card?
Oh, dude. Hey, first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth. All the hot chicks in the audience will be impressed.
I thought there were 7.
No, it's 1 through 4 ballet positions. There may be film of me at BYU in tights. Hashtag just saying.
But is there anything wrong with the words? If you read it on a page.
Yes, I do take issue with the gospel of your own truth.
No, but like the words.
Well, what does that mean to be against the gospel of your own truth?
The postmodernist destruction of any forms of rule of law at all.
See, he didn't say that though.
Yeah, he did. He literally said all of these.
He said Satan's going to figure out what you like, and he's going to play to it and create a gospel, and he's going to create a society that emphasizes yourself and your own feelings about things a lot. Julie Hanks, all these other people.
But also,
and then your personal authority, your own truth, is going to be the gospel.
But does that not also apply to this show and Jacob Hansen? And to me, it also seems like anyone can make that argument.
Is this like where you try and say George Washington, the founding fathers are bad people despite overwhelming
Wait, let's not get into that.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that.
I don't think that'll help this conversation.
John Quincy Adams was great. So what I'm saying though is when you're trying to synthesize the scriptures into a relevant message, no matter what, it has to filter through your own brain, your own experiences, and your own reasoning.
Yeah.
And so anybody can say, oh, that's your own truth, that's your own truth. Instead, you should follow my truth, which is your take on certain gospel principles and scriptures.
And you know what, Kwaku? I think if the world were using that definition of your truth the way that you're talking about it, it would be good. And I've been trying to think about this. We might benefit from doing an entire podcast on this. But when it comes down to what you're talking about, that sounds more like your understanding of truth or your lived experience, right? And it brings what you bring to the table into it makes it valid, and it helps people understand what you're trying to say. I think and this is, again, is what I was saying earlier. These terms have been weaponized in a way that just make conflict easier.
Yeah, weaponized by the cry bullies who are destroying society.
It's weaponized by both sides in some ways, but this term of your truth, I think what I'm seeing from everything surrounding what David Glen Hatch is saying is he's trying to use it in the sense of there is an absolute truth out there that we need to be seeking after, right? That is independent of our lived experience and that is independent of our filter. And that's what we need to be seeking after.
Yes, that's true.
I'm raising my hand.
My
I get to go after.
Oh, is that
I
what
get to
we're
go
doing?
after Kwaku.
Okay, my only issue with that, though, is trying to present what is that unfiltered truth is only going to come through people, which is always going to go through their perceptions and their ideas.
Yes.
So to me, it kind of my philosophical opposition to this is it feels like it can be taken as don't listen to yourself, listen to me instead, which ends up just creating the exact same problem. That
Wait, you're saying
in the
that
first
he's
place.
saying that, or you're saying that he's
That's the
saying that
logical-
other people are saying that, but he's
That's
also
the-
saying it?
No, that's the logical extent of taking that.
No,
where the
Kwaku,
logic
all
leads.
he's saying here, let me jump in and you guys can finish, but all he's saying here is that they're stealing words and they have substituted speak your experience and speak from experience, which is what bearing our testimony inherently is, speaking from our experience, and has substituted our experience from our perspective as our truth, a functional aspect of truth. And that now the whole entire world, okay, has to change to what your truth is. And if they don't, they're a bunch of hateful bigots. The word truth is getting stolen from being this thing outside of us that is a golden standard. Hold on. That is a golden standard that all of us can aspire to and that exists, to all of a sudden being your truth, a personalized truth, which cannot be.
This is a different podcast. We talked about this in Western Political Heritage. What is truth and how do you actually define truth?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is why Greece is great because they had multiple words for multiple different things.
Yeah,
and,
like
and,
the 5 words for love and everything.
But okay, so for example, like if I say the church is true, what does that mean? Because objectively, it's a true sentence. Yes,
that no
it is true
priesthood
that
leader ever has done anything wrong or said anything wrong, and if you believe it, you're apostate.
Okay, no, clearly that's not what it means, right? If I say the church is true, or someone says that, what they usually mean is I believe that this church is where the teachings of Jesus Christ are found in their fullest extent.
Yes.
But the phrase itself, the church is true, makes no sense. I mean, yes, it is objectively true that our church exists. Okay, yes, that is true. What do these things actually mean?
It's a diminutive shortening of the term the only true and living church, which is scriptural. We have the living prophets.
But
It's
what does that
something
mean? The
unique
only
to us.
true and like the true part. What does that mean? It's the only true and living church.
I've always considered it, and I do believe that this is a widespread understanding, that if something is plumb lined and true, okay, that it's just like the straight and narrow. You can't stay on the straight and narrow unless you know what the straight and narrow is, and unless you have a plumb line that can actually tell you what straight is. So you need a true standard, which is a perfect standard, which is Christ. Christ is the center of our church, all right? And we're not just some dead church with some scriptures fighting over what the Greek says in relation to the Aramaic and then saying that they're apostates over there through exegesis while the Catholics are wrong and the Presbyterians are wrong. Instead of joining that Protestant evangelical cesspool of argument, we have modern prophets that can clarify things and additional scripture like the Book of Mormon that helps us stay on the true straight and narrow path. And that's what I think most people believe. The church is true. It's a shortening of the true and living church because we have living prophets.
So ultimately, you're saying it is true that it will get you on the straight and narrow path back to Jesus Christ. Where someone else will hear that and say it is true because it is the only church with the authority of God and none other have such.
Yeah, both are true.
But I don't know.
Again,
I don't know if either of those are what you mean when Cardin, you're saying that there is such a thing as objective reality and objective truth. I think that would be more stuff like law of gravity, love of God, Savior.
This is what I mean.
Are,
This is its own podcast.
Yeah. So to go back to what he's saying,
David Glen Hatch, yeah.
I think he kind of takes it down and breaks it down into what he's speaking about when he's saying what's the problem with your truth, is he then gives the example of we need to dismiss these aspects of Jesus and grab onto these other ones that are convenient for us. And so any person, whatever side they're coming into an issue, you need to like make sure that you're taking the whole picture and not selectively choosing which things align with what you already previously believed.
Okay, you bring up a really good point. We're going to continue this conversation on the other side of a commercial break. For those of you guys that are tuning in right now, this is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L. and Brad Whitbeck, as well as Luke Hansen, head of the Cougar Chronicle. Once upon a time, it was called the BYU Conservatives until the trademark office told them to knock it off. So stay tuned. Don't move. We'll be back in a flash. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Strike Through Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and I'm in the studio with Kwaku L., Brad Whitbeck, and Luke Hansen. And we're continuing the conversation here about David Glen Hatch doing absolutely nothing wrong, spitting truth at BYU Hawaii, and sending Twitter and the Bloggernacle into a frenzy because the cry bullies and the woke scolds can't handle the fact that we are children of God first, that there is an ultimate truth, and that our truth should not dictate our path, but the wisdom of the ancients, the love of Jesus Christ, and those good solid values that bring happiness. So, Kwaku, you were continuing your mistaken rant on how you think David Glen Hatch actually did something wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a horrible talk. I just feel like, wasn't for me. I'm not going to condemn. I haven't made like any post condemning the guy or like, well, this is a fan. Yeah, wasn't a fan. You're not going to like every talk. I don't go to BYU Hawaii. Who gives a crap what I think?
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, and that I think is a fascinating thing. The thing that you just said right there, there are people presenting this talk as though we had General Conference and now Mormons behind closed doors are going to say what they really think, right? And then they like try to paint this in as bad of a light as possible. It's like literally this is a dude talking to like the devotional people at BYU Hawaii. I haven't heard about a devotional from BYU Hawaii ever in my life until this one.
It is a tiny school.
Yes.
And look, that camera's so old you have to like pour milk into it for it to start. Like this is like, and also let's be real. How many people were Googling David Glen Hatch before this? Only people who were really into the piano music were I mean, it's just like, I wasn't a fan of the talk. I don't hate the guy.
This is top 3. There have been 3 truth bombs dropped on the Saints in the past decade. 1, Russell M. Nelson saying we are first children of God.
Mm-hmm.
2nd, disciples of Christ. 3rd, children of the covenant. That our identity is primarily that of children of God who are created in his image, who have an infinite worth and have an infinite potential. That boom shakalaka from the prophet of God, numero uno A1. 2nd was Ahmed Corbett's activism against the church talk. All right. Truth bomb number 2, followed up by now in the pantheon of those who bat 1100, which I didn't even know was possible. We must induct David Glen Hatch telling us that the gospel cannot be replaced with our personal truth and that postmodernism's day is over and cannot withstand the light of Christ. That right there, those are the only 3 talks you need from the past 3 years. Those are the only 3 talks you need from the past 3 years. Where do I go wrong?
What you go wrong with is you forgot to say Ahmed Corbett, Apostle 2027.
Oh, yeah. Do you think, I've heard people say he's gunning for the red chair. I don't get those vibes. I just think that
but they're all red.
He already has one of those. Yeah.
Okay, fine. You're right. I whatever. So anyway, quick, finish your thought, or do we move on to another subject? Can we move on or what?
I think we've found the crux of the issue is that there are people who disagree with the style in which this was presented. That's one of the core arguments. And then people who took issue with phrasing like your truth.
I just want to know when he's going to steal Christmas.
All right, let us know where you guys think we go wrong. This is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. We will see you guys in the next program. Hey guys, this is Cardinellis. I'm the creator of Midnight Mormons. Thank you so much for watching this video. We know in an attention economy, you could be spending your time elsewhere, but you chose to spend it here with us. For that, we are grateful. Before you go to the next video, please make sure that you hit the like button. It tells the algorithms that you like our content, and it will hopefully recommend more content in the future. Also, if you can, subscribe to our channel. It's a great way to be alerted of more content we make. And if you press that bell icon next to the subscribe button, you'll be alerted on every video we make. We put a lot of hard work into these, and we want you to see all of our videos, so please subscribe. Also, if you would like to contribute, if you're feeling generous, please consider a contribution to the channel through Venmo. We also have contributions that you can give us through PayPal. There will be links in the description of this video to both of those platforms. If you're a giving person that prefers working through Amazon, we also have an Amazon wish list. Much of the equipment that you see in our studio is purchased through Amazon, and we're grateful if you could contribute that way. Also, somewhere around like here, I'd say, and somewhere around like right here is going to be a recommendation for more of our content that you might like. So please click on another video and we'll see you there. Either way, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. We will see you in the next video.